So Elizabeth Warren, one of her kind of big tenets for running for president was that she, has this streak of uncorruptibility about her, wanting to, take on Wall Street, disavowing super PAC money seemed to be something that was really central to her kind of anti-corruption, anti-big money theme in her campaign, and she has totally backtracked on that because there is now she's supported by more than one super PAC, but another one was just formed to support her, this Persist super PAC that I guess is supposedly comprised of some progressive women who want to prop up Elizabeth Warren by supporting this super PAC. And Elizabeth Warren was asked about this, and she basically said, well, everybody else is being supported by super PACs. I wanted everybody else to disavow this, many times. Nobody else did. I've been calling for it to happen, but to keep me in the race, I have to get super PAC money now. So really, again, going back of one of her core campaign tenets, not accepting any super PAC money, and she's totally did a complete 180 on that. And I think it's not going to look good for her politically, and I think it's going to hurt her in the polls. The same thing when she waffled on her support for Medicare for all. She was, at least, talking about it and, advocating for it a decent amount, and then she came out with her actual proposal where she wouldn't really actually try to get it until 3 years into her term, when she used up any of her political capital that she may have had to get that passed. She tanked in the polls after that. Now she's going back on her commitment to not take any super PAC money, and again trying to throw shade at Bernie Sanders by saying the Sunrise Movement, the group of youth climate activists who are doing everything that they can to fight climate change, to actually have an inhabitable world to live on. They endorse Bernie Sanders, as well as I believe it's the United Nurses Union PAC, which is just a group of nurses, and they decided to endorse Bernie Sanders. So she's trying to throw shade at Bernie's campaign because they got support from youth climate activists and big nurse money. So again, very disingenuous in her attacks against Bernie, and she's not strong on healthcare. I think she would be a hugely problematic candidate against Donald Trump, and now she's okay with taking super PAC money, and it's just another one of the things that she has really, waffled on and kind of lost a lot of her progressive bona fides. And then let's not forget, at the debate last night, she said that she was okay with super delegates deciding who the Democratic nominee will, and she was in support of them overturning the will of the people. Bernie Sanders, again, was the only Democratic candidate who said it should be the will of the voters to pick the nominee, not the corrupt superdelegate system, which is just obviously full of DNC establishment hacks who will do everything that they can to make sure Bernie isn't the nominee. And they would obviously prefer any of the candidates over Bernie because he wants to overturn the apple cart and make sure that the United States and the US government is working for the working people and not the billionaire owner class. And again, if you're really concerned about beating Donald Trump, poll after poll has shown that Bernie Sanders, out of all the Democratic candidates, is the only one to beat him. He has the highest favorability ratings. He has the most diverse working class coalition. So the whole Bernie bro narrative is very disingenuous, and it erases, the very diverse coalition, working class coalition that supports Bernie Sanders. And again, she would rather attack Bernie's supporters online for calling out people's bullshit and not supporting things like Medicare for all, which actually leads to people dying and going bankrupt because they don't have insurance or are underinsured. So she'd rather spend time tone policing people online for speaking up for these causes than actually fight for things like Medicare for all. And now she's okay with taking super PAC money. So it's you know, just very disappointing, this really right-wing shift that we've seen from Elizabeth Warren. And again, if we're really concerned with, you know, making sure Donald Trump doesn't get elected again, poll after poll has shown Bernie Sanders is the only one who has a chance. He has the most diverse working class coalition and movement behind him, and most Elizabeth Warren support comes from affluent white people. You nominate somebody like that, voter turnout's going to go down substantially because there's only so many affluent white people to go around, and Bernie Sanders again has the most diverse coalition as well as the biggest movement and amount of support behind him. He's leading nationally. So if you really are a Warren supporter, I'd really deeply encourage you to reflect on why at this point you're supporting Elizabeth Warren over Bernie Sanders. There's literally no way that she's going to be the nominee, again, unless the corrupt superdelegate system goes against the will of the people, changes it that way. And I think if that happens, the Democratic Party as we know it will cease to exist. People aren't going to stand for it. They'll either not vote, guaranteeing Trump a, you know, re-election, or they'll vote third party. So Bernie is the only choice. Elizabeth Warren, just highly questionable in these last couple of months, a lot of things that she's said and done. So Bernie 2020, not me, us. Much love. Peace.